everybody, welcome back. Friday review here on the Cabral Concept. Each and every Friday bringing you at least 2 amazing research studies that I know you or a family member are going to want to know about. And then I also try to bring you a product review, usually in the health tech-based space, or a book review. Today, we're going to bring you both of those, so you'll see why in just a moment. But before we get to those, I want to share with you what you may have missed over the past week. And that is, on Monday's show, we went over how happiness is found in 3 specific things. It's the easiest way to live your life and live then a life of more peace, more joy, more happiness. So check out that show. That was episode 3587. On episode 3588, we went over 5 habits that all men over 35 need to follow, not should, need to follow to stay healthy and happy through life. On Wednesday's show, we went over the most anti-inflammatory food list. This was a follow-up from last week's show where we went over the most inflammatory foods on the planet. Yesterday, the most anti-inflammatory, but also the number 1 herb or food to add that's more than double the potency of any other food or herb in terms of an anti-inflammatory. So check that out. And then yesterday's show was a case for drinking alcohol. So why I put that in there is because some of the research, believe it or not, actually shows that alcohol can be an anti-inflammatory. Is it right for you? We answered that on yesterday's show. All these shows can be found at stephencabral.com/podcasts. All right, so let's get into now our Friday review. And the first is our product review. Then we'll get to a great book that a colleague of mine wrote. Very short, very concise, to the point. And I think it should be read by most people as a preventative as well as a healing source. All right, the first thing first, though, is I found this cute little patch here. It's called the Sweat Patch. It came out by the company Gatorade. It's a 2-pack, and I want to know if anyone in our audience has used a sweat patch test before to see their sodium needs when they work out. So I know that it's a little bit more niche, but if you're just downing a lot of sodium or electrolytes during your workout, the question is, do you need all that salt, right? So this patch is supposedly able to tell you how much you need. Now, I'm sure it won't be perfectly accurate, but if it's more on par with your salt needs, I think that's pretty great because you can actually go and do a sweat loss test where they have you exercise in a sports lab, for about an hour, at least 30 minutes, and then they track your sweat and then analyze it for the amount of salt coming out, and then they know your exact electrolyte replacement. Now, it's mostly done with triathletes, marathoners, etc., but this, if it's anywhere close, could be really valuable for the general public because it's also very inexpensive. So I'm going to put this to the test, but I wanted to hear if anyone in our community has tried out this or any other brand. I'm brand agnostic when it comes to this, so please drop it in the comments if you've heard about it. I'm going to link everything up today at stephencabral.com/3591 in those show notes. I'll link it up. All right. So next up is our book review of the week. This one is called Cancer, Outsmarted. Now, the first book that I read by Dr. Tony Jimenez, who is the founder of Hope for Cancer, who's been doing this now almost 30 years, is Hope for Cancer, right? That's his larger book. That's definitely a must read for anyone or someone who has a family member going through cancer. But Cancer Outsmarted is one of his newer books that he just actually let me know about. And it's called 11 Integrative Hallmarks of Cancer to Minimize Risk and Optimize Health. All right. So why am I talking about this book? Well, if we think about the previous book, it's more, if you have cancer, here's what we can do. This book is more preventative, but it also helps people with cancer as well, because you want to think about, oh, this is maybe how I got here. Now we need to empty that rain barrel. So this book is very much like the rain barrel effect, but it's specific for cancer and how we can minimize our exposure. So everything from advanced glycation end products in foods, acrylamide, all sorts of different chemical-based sensitivities, and then also many things that you can do, such as coffee enemas, or getting to a healthy weight, or like plant-based diversity in your diet, looking at cruciferous veggies, getting 35 grams of fiber in your diet, intermittent fasting. He goes over certain probiotics. He talks about what to look at in terms of certain blood work, looking at certain viruses. So it's a very good book. If you want to check it out, I'm going to link it up again at stephencabral.com/3591. $591. Cancer Outsmarted by Dr. Jimenez and also by Subrata Chakravarti. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. But again, read it. Easy read. I shouldn't say it's an easy read, but honestly, it's not over your head in depth with medical-based terminology for sure. And there's a lot that you can do. And yeah, that's it. Only about 75 pages. Check it out. I'll also be doing a full review on Hope for Cancer in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that show. Anybody who's ever thought about sending a family member, a loved one, or maybe even for themselves, I'm going to give you a really unbiased and honest review of it. I spent almost a week down there, 5 full days, 5.5 days, and I'll share my knowledge based now that I actually went through a lot of their wellness based. I looked at their different modalities. I was supporting a patient that was down there. That's why I was down there. But I also wanted to learn. I wanted to understand, okay, what are they doing? And I'm going to share all of that in just about 2 weeks time. So stay tuned. Okay. That's our product review, our book review of the week. Let's go over our research studies. Now, moving from Cancer Outsmarted along the same topic, this is a product that I recommend. Again, I can't give you any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but almost everyone I work with as a private client in terms of cancer support, which is what I do, again, not practicing medicine, but cancer support. And part of the protocol that I put them on, to look through all my research papers here, is mistletoe. Now, a lot of people don't think that you can actually get mistletoe because it's injectable or it can be used with an IV drip, but usually it's an injection and you can actually take them home with you. Very small needle, like an allergy shot. And why I bring this to your attention is that there are so many studies on PubMed showing 2 things. One, for certain, it improves quality of life, especially for those people going through chemotherapy or immunotherapies. Now, you might say, I'm going to take the natural route. Totally fine, up to you. But even for the conventional medicine route, if you want to take that route, again, totally fine. That's up to you. That's a personal choice. This helps with a lot of the toxic side effects. So mistletoe seems to be an amazing modulator of the immune system. So I'm going to link up a couple studies for you, and maybe I'll do its own show just on mistletoe. But most of them come out of Germany and they're shipped here to the US, these specific extracts. But in a phase 1 study of intravenous mistletoe extract in patients with solid tumors, the extract helped stabilize the disease and improve quality of life with manageable side effects such as fatigue, nausea, and chills. Meaning that fatigue, nausea, and chills would come as a side effect of many cancer-based treatments. And mistletoe actually helped with that. It helped with the nausea. It helped with the chills. It helped with the fatigue. Some doctors already use mistletoe extract to support therapy and to improve cancer patients' quality of life. Phase 2 trials are now being planned. This was out of Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, so obviously a very reputable university, right? And published in Cancer Research Communications. Mistletoe is the real deal. I highly recommend looking into it. There is an expense to it, but it's not super expensive. And so when you look at it as a great adjunct in integrative cancer-based therapies, it might be worth looking into. I certainly do recommend it. All right. Next up, we've got one more study for the week. This was an interesting one. And this has been done actually over many years, but this latest study is just about a year old, maybe just a little older, and it continues to be proven out. This was done by Dr. James McCulley, professor of neuroscience, University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, the leading author of a study on chronic back pain and published in JAMA, right? So big journal. All right, so this is what it says. People with chronic back pain, so many years of back pain, usually lower lumbar spine, but back pain in general, they often lose the ability to accurately interpret signals coming from the affected area and so believe that the back is injured even after it's been healed. This actually goes for multiple parts of the body, but it seems most pronounced along the spine. So what happens is neck, oftentimes lower back injury, the back itself has been healed, meaning like whether it was healed naturally through physical therapy, chiropractic, strength training, or surgery, but you're still getting the signals that there's an injury, right? And you've looked at it, there's no inflammation left. And so what happens is, and this, you don't have to have all the surgery and all this for this. This is why this is a non-invasive therapy that you may want to look into because there's almost no downside. So okay, let's continue on. 12 weeks of drug-free, non-invasive therapy called Sensorimotor Retraining, which uses mirrors, videos, visualization, and touch achieved a reduction in pain that was superior to what is normally seen with opioids. So people got better results with the sensory motor retraining, and that's SENSORI motor retraining. They got better results with that than with some of the strongest painkillers in the entire world with opioids, right? And they can be very dangerous drugs as well if misused. 1 year later, half the study participants were no longer disabled by back pain. 50% success rate for chronic back pain. That's pretty impressive. So I bring this to you as not the end all be all, but one adjunct I definitely recommend looking into because there's almost no downside, right? The only downside is your time. That's it. But if you're able to get into a program like this, then the results could be astounding. And if you've ever suffered from a lower back pain injury, or you know what back pain is in general, you want to do anything you can to fix that. So check it out. Of course, I'm going to link up all these studies in the show notes. You'll be able to find them today at stephencabral.com/3591. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral host calls answering our community's questions. Take care.